Sound, sound, sound. How is sound? Can someone type a comment of sound? Can anybody hear? Is there sound? Sound. Sound, sound, sound. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can anybody hear? We are going to go live shortly. Okay.
All right, is everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm Ron Lendvay. I'm the Director of Investigations and Homeland Security, and we're out here to update you on an officer-involved incident that happened earlier this afternoon. Today at 12:01, the manager of a sandwich shop located at 1355 North Edgewood Avenue called our JSO dispatch center after he and multiple coworkers and customers became concerned about another customer that was there at the restaurant. The white male customer was showing obvious signs of clear intoxication to everybody that he came into contact with, and they were very concerned about him getting into his truck and driving away. They felt that if he did, that there'd be some type of an accident and a tragedy could happen. That call was dispatched from our call center downtown to an officer who was responding to the scene, and as he was responding, the call was updated when the manager called back to let us know that a customer told him that the intoxicated man had a firearm on his hip underneath his shirt. The officer arrived a short time later after calling and speaking to the manager to find out exactly where the man was on the property. And the intoxicated man had backed his truck into a space near the very edge of their parking lot and was next to his truck with the driver's side door open. The officer parked at a property adjacent to the restaurant and walked up and approached the man from the rear of his truck. As he attempted to talk to the man to open a dialogue, the man reached toward his waistband where it became evident that he had a handgun in a holster. The officer fired at the man who, at the time that he reached for this firearm, and rescue was called to respond, but was unable to save the man who was pronounced deceased here at the scene. So we're still conducting our investigation, interviewing both employees of the restaurant and citizens who were here at the time of the incident. We've identified 2 witnesses so far who saw the man with the gun in his waistband before the officer's arrival, and another 3 who saw the man reaching for his hip where the gun was located when the officer tried to speak with him at his truck in the parking lot. The on-scene investigation continues, and we're joined here on scene by personnel from the State Attorney's Office and the Medical Examiner's Office, and we're working to conclusively identify the man and notify his family. I want to note that we really appreciate the restaurant employees' concern for the community in this area by calling us to let us know about the intoxicated man before he got out on the road, number 1, and then number 2, when they realized that he was armed, calling back so that the responding officers would know that this man was armed before they got here and be prepared for that situation. We also appreciate all the citizens and the other employees there who came forward to help provide us with a clearer picture of exactly what happened today. We have a number of witnesses that we've been able to interview to get unique perspectives about what happened today. The officer has been placed on administrative leave per our normal administrative procedures as we investigate, and we're moving forward from there. And with that, I'll take whatever questions I can answer for you.
Did the officer have any time to say, "Police, drop your weapon"?
I don't have the information on the specific verbiage that took place between them, but it appears to be very quickly when this man realized the officer was there that he began reaching for the waistband where he had the firearm in the holster.
Director, how close were other officers?
I'm sorry?
Did the suspect in fact have a gun?
Yes, he did have a gun.
How close were other officers? Were there other officers being dispatched at the time, or
I don't,
just one sent to the
yeah, I don't have information on where all the other officers were. This officer was by himself at the time when he confronted the man.
Has this officer had any previous officer-involved shootings?
I'll have that information for you tomorrow. We'll have an update like we typically do to give you some further details once we iron all that out.
Is there surveillance, body camera footage, anything else that could help paint a picture of what happened here?
Sure. No, there's no body cameras. This officer is not one of those that's in the pilot program wearing it. There's surveillance video inside the store of his interaction before he exited, and of course we're downloading that and working on that as we speak. At this point in time, we haven't located anything outside, but we're still looking in the area.
Were any shell casings located in or near the daycare where a child could have been hurt?
No, the daycare, other than being inside the perimeter, was uninvolved in this incident.
Was this officer's vehicle the white unmarked Impala that was parked in front of the parking lot earlier?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not exactly sure which vehicle he arrived in. There's a number of police vehicles, and I'm not sure which one was his.
Was the suspect's truck gray?
It is mud covered, and I'm not sure what color is underneath the mud.
But the officer was uniformed.
Yes.
Okay, so he was wearing a uniform similar to yours with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office on it, so it's very clear what he was doing.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Is the suspect someone who's familiar to JSO? Have you encountered him in the past?
We haven't identified him conclusively, so it would be premature to comment on that.
Any other questions? Do you know how long this area is going to be blocked off like this?
It depends on how long we need to finish up with what the evidence technicians are doing. I know they've been working it for quite some time, trying to get it open as quickly as we can, but I don't have an exact estimate of when that'll happen.
What's the name of the officer?
That'll also be released tomorrow once we do our update.
We've seen a lot of law enforcement locally in the Jacksonville area, including the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, have to use force here with armed subjects out there. What does that mean to you? I mean, as a director with JSO, with men and women out patrolling every single day, that you know, this officer was directly in harm's way.
Sure. No, you know, I know Director Bruno spoke on this at the tragic incident we had not too long ago. You know, all too often we're encountering, you know, armed individuals who are willing to, you know, hang on to those firearms against police orders to drop them during law enforcement encounters. And that makes this job extremely dangerous for these guys. And, you know, unfortunately, we're on a tough run for the last month or so, both us and the federal agency that had a officer-involved incident earlier this week. And, you know, luckily our guys are trained to take care of themselves and the public around. You know, we're fortunate that the encounter that we did have today didn't happen inside the restaurant. I was speaking with the manager and some of the employees, and I was thanking them for not only calling in about this dangerous individual before he got on the road, but letting our officers know that this man was armed as well. And I was telling them that I was just thankful that he was outside, at least in an isolated area of the parking lot, and this encounter didn't go down inside the store. So this job is dangerous. There's no two ways about it. And you know, everybody that does this job knows that, and they have to be aware of those dangers.
Director, what's the distance between them?
Pardon me?
Do you know if the suspect's gun was loaded?
I'll have that information once again tomorrow. The medical examiner is working there right now. I know they've recovered the firearm. It is a real firearm. I don't know what the contents of that firearm is yet.
What's the approximate age of the suspect?
He's an adult, but I don't know his approximate age at this point in time.
How's the officer doing now emotionally?
Well, I haven't had a personal conversation with him, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that, but he's been provided the typical services we do. He's met with our critical incident stress debriefing folks, and you know, he's had an opportunity to do that, and he'll have an opportunity to discuss the incident further with professionals. We do that for everybody that's involved in an incident.
Director, what was the distance between the officer and the subject here?
It was fairly close quarters, but I don't have a measurement for you, so I don't want to put a number on it and be inaccurate.
Any other questions?
This was to the side of the building?
Yeah, it's
kind of an alley?
the parking lot. You know, you think about any kind of a business that has a kind of a linear parking lot. It was in one of the last couple spaces at the edge of their parking lot.
Close to Sunrise Caribbean or close to the child care?
It was closer to the building with the blue building with the yellow roof right there.
Okay.
Did you see how many shots he fired?
I did not.
Do you know
We'll know that tomorrow.
What's next for the officer that was involved in the shooting as far as departmentally?
He goes on administrative leave while the investigation continues, and he's offered resources as far as the being able to talk through the incident that took place as far as mental health professionals and things like that. That's standard procedure for us as well.
Where was the suspect hit?
That'll also be something that the medical examiner will determine. The actual investigation of the decedent himself, that's all conducted by the medical examiner. We don't do that or manipulate the decedent. That's the job of the medical examiner.
We believe we saw some bullet holes in the truck. Can you tell us about what we're seeing there when we look at that?
Well, this happened right next to the truck, so there are some bullet holes in the truck as well.
Any other questions?
He didn't threaten anybody in the restaurant, did he? He was just acting belligerently drunk.
Interviews are still going on, so I don't want to say conclusively no, but our information was there was no threats inside. It was just clear to everybody coming and going inside that he was highly intoxicated, and they were worried about him driving.
And how close was he to being able to actually to potentially pull that trigger on the officer? I mean, a matter of seconds here?
You know, it's tough for me to answer that. I mean, if you have a firearm in your waistband and you're reaching for your waistband, it takes less than a second to get that out and fire it if you know what you're doing with it. So I don't know what this man's ability was with the firearm that he had.
Did this officer have a taser or a body camera?
He did not have a body camera. I would assume he has a taser, but I don't know that conclusively.
Is it protocol to, I mean, would he not go for the taser first? Is there any kind of...
It would not be protocol to use a taser on somebody who's armed with a firearm who poses a lethal threat. No.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
So wired
Yeah, I think let's not put it.